Hey guys, it's Will here and welcome back to another battle report. Tonight my Biel Tan Eldar will be taking on Tom's Blood Angels. Now it's going to be my first time fighting against the new Blood Angel codex, so very interested to see what they can do. From what I've heard they've got a lot better, but yeah, have to see how they do on the game. And yeah, I'm trying to get a bit better with my Eldar. Had a couple of bad results with them recently, but I feel like I'm starting to get a handle on how to play them, but we shall just have to see how that pans out in the game. Anyway, let's take a look at the armies and the mission. So here's the Biel Tan War Host, 2,000 points of Craftworld Eldar. Starting down here, I've got my Farseer, and he's going to be leading a battalion detachment. He's got Guide and Doom as his psychic powers, Phoenix Gem as his item, and his Warlord trait is Natural Leader, which gives one unit within 3 inches rerolls to hit every shooting phase. So that's pretty cool, and I've got him on a jet bike to keep him nice and manoeuvrable. Supporting him I've got a Spirit Seer, and he's going to have the Protect Jinx psychic power. And then for my troops I've got 3 units of Dire Avengers. 1 unit of 10 with an Exarch with the Shimmer Shield, and then 2 units of 5s where the Exarchs have the double Shuriken cannon, catapult. Also got 3 elite units here, so I've got the Wraith Guard with the Wraith Cannons, Fire Dragons, and a 10-man unit of Striking Scorpions. Exarch in there has the Scorpion's Claw. Heavy supports, Falcon with Bright Lance and Pulse Laser, and also the what's it called, Crystal Targeting Matrix on there, and the unit of Dark Reapers. 2 dedicated transports are my 2 Wave Serpents, one with Shuriken Cannons and one with Bright Lances on the turret, upgraded Shuriken Cannons under there. And then I have a Vanguard detachment. Is it Outrider detachment. So we've got a Warlock leading that, and his power is going to be Quicken Restrain. 2 units of Warp Spiders with the Exarchs packing the double weapon, and 2 units of 4 jet bikes with Shuriken Cannons. So there we have it, 2,000 points of Eldar. Same list as I've run a few times before. Hopefully going to have slightly better results than in my last couple of games with it. And here's Tom's Blood Angels painted as Flesh Tearers, and the lighting on this side of the table is not quite so good, so it doesn't really do them justice, but it's a very good looking army. He's got a battalion detachment and also a Supreme Command. So starting down here with his Supreme Command, he has Lamartis, he has a Sanguinary Priest. Now he actually should have a jump pack. We've got Gabriel Seth, and then we've got the Sanguinor, who is still a work in progress. Then troops wise, he's got 1 unit of scouts, 6 guys in there, just bolt guns and the bolt pistol on the sergeant. 2 5-man tactical squads, 1 with a flamer and 1 with a hand flamer and heavy flamer. So obviously originally built as 1 squad but split into 2 to give him the battalion, and they're riding in this strange thing that I've not seen for a long time. It's a drop pod. That'll be interesting to see how that gets on. Then this guy here is the other slight proxy in the army. He is actually a Terminator Ancient, so he should have the banner, and that's the banner that gives everybody a well, it's like a 6-inch bubble of 5+ Feel No Pain. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes with protecting his army. As a unit of Terminators, we got 6 Thunderhammer Storm Shield Terminators. No, sorry, 5 Thunderhammer Storm Shield, and then the Sergeant in the back has the Lightning Claws. And we've got a Furioso Dreadnought, Death Company Dreadnought, with the Magna Grapple on the top there.
Yeah, Magna Grapple has got a multi-melter and a flamer.
We've got a multi-melter around that side, flame around that side, and obviously the Blood Talons, looking really nice there. Storm Raven, one of the standout units of this edition, and this one's packing las cannons and a multi-melter, twin multi-melter. And then a full 10-man squad of Death Company with a mix of chain swords, power swords, thunder hammers, power fist in there. Really brutal unit if that gets close to me. So it's a very compact elite army, but with some seriously hard-hitting stuff in here. So the battlefield tonight is this desert board with scattered Imperial ruins and some wrecked vehicles. And the mission we've rolled up tonight, we actually decided to go for one of the Eternal War missions, because I haven't played them yet in the new chapter approved, and I left my Maelstrom cards at home. So the mission is frontline warfare. So there's 4 objectives, 1 in each deployment zone and 2 in no man's land. And we've got the table quarters deployment that is called Dawn of War. So this is my deployment zone here, and my objectives up in there. Got a no man's land one there. Tom's one is kind of mirroring mine in the building there, and another no man's land objective there. So pretty straightforward. You score 1 point for your own objective at the end of the game, 4 for your opponents, and you get 2 for the 2 no man's land ones. Anyway, on to deployment. So we're all set up now. I've deployed down here, mostly clustered around this objective, although with these jet bikes further back to try and reduce the risk of getting deep struck on in my backfield. And Tom has got his Death Company right to the front there, ready to try and get as close as possible. Storm Raven is up there, that's carrying the Dreadnought and Gabriel Seth. That's it, no squad in there, just Gabriel Seth and the Dreadnought. 2 tactical squads are in there, deciding not to utilise the drop pods. Scouts in the back, trying to cut down backline deployments as well. And then in reserves, he's got the Sanguinor, he's got the Terminator squad, he's got the Ancient, and he's got the Lamartes, and he's got the Banner. In my reserves, I've got 2 units of Warp Spiders, the Striking Scorpions, and also a unit of Dire Avengers who are using the Webway Strike stratagem. In my transports, I've got Fire Dragons in the Falcon, what they're called, Wraithguard and my Spirit Seer in that Wave Serpent, and the 2 small Dire Avenger squads plus my Warlock in that one. Farseer is hanging out back here, and the Avengers are behind the buildings so they can climb up there in my turn rather than getting shot before they get to do anything. Now all that's left to do is roll for first turn. I got a 2, he got a 4 in total because he had +1, so Blood Angels have the first turn, but can I seize? No, initiative not seized. Here we go, with the Blood Angels first turn. Turn 1 started with the Death Company using the Forlorn Fury stratagem to get a free move before they took their movement phase. So that left me with Death Company right up in my face from the get-go. Storm Raven came down here and the cargo stayed on board, and the drop pod and Terminators came down over here. Now the Terminators didn't deploy from the drop pod, they just happened to deploy quite near it. The drop pod is really all about camping that objective over there right now. Down here, Lamartes came on using the Descent of Angel stratagem to get a 3d6 charge, and the Sanguinary Priest came down behind the Death Company.
He's got 1 wound.
Yeah, shooting phase was largely ineffective, although the Storm Raven did manage to put 4 wounds onto this one and 7 wounds onto the one in the middle. He elected to split his fire, hoping to crack both, and ended up cracking neither. But that's where the Death Company came in. Lamartes led the charge, although took 4 wounds from the Overwatch fire of the Falcon. He did then put 7 wounds onto it in combat. And the Death Company lost 1 guy to Overwatch from one of the Wave Serpents, smashed up the lead Wave Serpent for first blood, and almost killed this one. That's on 9 wounds. And yeah, so that's first blood and one of my Wave Serpents down. But we've got a lot to hit back with here. The Blood Angels have all 4 objectives either under threat or locked down. No, they don't, because that doesn't count anymore as scoring, but he's got close to that one, he's holding that one, he's holding that one. But I've got to deal with these Death Company, they're right up in my face, but I can't ignore the threat of the Storm Raven or the Terminators. Here we go with Eldar, turn 1. So this turn wanted to break out from being pinned back by the Death Company and deal with the Death Company. So a few little tricks here. My Spirit Seer moved up, or moved back, so it was just within 18 inches of the Terminators. In the psychic phase, he attempted to cast Restrain to stop them from moving so fast, but it failed. But 18 inches should still be enough to give me one more turn till the Terminators hit my lines, unless they've got some cheaty Blood Angel shenanigans to stop that. Farseer attempted to doom the Death Company, but unfortunately failed. Used my Runes of the Farseer to reroll, ended up with a double 1 and 3 wounds from a Perils, so pretty bad start. I had disembarked both of these Dire Avenger units and moved the Warp Spiders up there. Not Warp Spiders, sorry, Dark Reapers. And then over here I moved the jet bikes across to get them a bit away, give them some new options. As for reserves, I didn't bring everything down, brought down the Warp Spiders here, right behind his Sanguinary Priest, and the Striking Scorpions came down here 9 inches out from the tactical squad. The plan was to use Call to the Young King to get them a nice 7-inch rather than 9-inch charge into the first tactical squad, beat them, and then consolidate into the next squad. But alas, it were not to be. I rolled a really poor charge result, so even with Call to the Young King and a reroll, I failed to get in there. Left the Fire Dragons in the Falcon, which in hindsight was a mistake because it took way too much firepower to deal with the Death Company. Both Jetbike squads, the Wraith Guard, the Farseer, and both Dire Avenger squads failed to kill them, so I had to use the Dark Reapers, which is a pain because I actually wanted to use them to take on the Stormraven. But it is what it is, and to continue my bad luck for that turn, the Warp Spiders attempted to shoot this guy in the back, but only did 2 wounds. So yeah, not great. But you know, we've still got a couple of units to bring on. The Fire Dragons sitting around in their transport, and I have dealt with the Death Company, who were probably the biggest threat on the table. But I've still got to worry about Lamatis, Gabriel Seth, a Dreadnought, Sanguinor in reserve. Those Terminators have probably got a turn of not having to worry, but we'll see. Here we go with the second Blood Angel turn. Interesting second turn from the Blood Angels. Started with both the Dreadnought and Gabriel Seth getting out of the Stormraven, which then proceeded to fly over here, showing its rear to the Avengers, who are no doubt, sorry, the Reapers, who are no doubt wanting to do some damage there. Other than that, he pulled all these squads out of cover, ready for charges, ran the Terminators, and pushed up Lamatis to just in front of the Wraith Guard. Shooting consisted mostly of the Stormraven again, which wrecked the Falcon and narrowly missed wrecking the last Wave Serpent, past a 6-up save to keep that alive. The death of the Falcon did take down 2 Fire Dragons with it, but they're out and ready to threaten his Dreadnought. The Dreadnought also tried to shoot the Wave Serpent, but missed, unfortunately. He killed a fair number of my Scorpions with shooting from these 2 squads, and a single Warp Spider from over here. Oh, and the Sanguinor appeared behind my lines. Lamatis chucked a crack grenade at the Wraith Guard and put 2 wounds onto them, before both him and the Sanguinary Priest both charged and both took Overwatch damage. Those Wraith Cannons were on fire today. The Priest charges, gets killed. Lamatis charges, takes a total of 8 wounds from 2 hits. That was brutal Overwatch there. Very pleased with how that went down. Oh, the Stormraven also killed 1 from this squad. Other charges, the Sanguinor failed to charge the jet bikes, but not before he took a wound on Overwatch. Dreadnought got into the jet bikes here and only killed 2 of them. He was a little unfortunate this time around. And Seth cut through the first Dire Avenger squad and marched on to the second squad, who put a wound on him. Over here, the tactical squad charged the Spiders, but didn't do any damage there, so they'll be getting out of there next turn. And the Scorpions managed to kill 1 of this tactical squad, but they took a total of 7 casualties. Luckily I rolled a 1 for their morale, which just kept them in the fight. So my army is looking battered and bruised, and the Blood Angels are really driving home their advantage. But it's not over yet. I've still got a couple of units to come on in reserves, and I'm really looking for the Fire Dragons. and the Dark Reapers to do something as we head into the second Eldar turn. Turn 2 and time to fight back. So pulled the fire dragons down here, moved the jet bikes that were over here away from the Sanguinor, brought down an extra unit of warp spiders here. Farseer came to here, pulled back my Wraith Guard. The warp spiders that were in the centre jumped over here to try and get to that objective, and the Dire Revenger squad came down in his backlines. The fire dragons started off the shooting, but first we had the psychic phase, which actually worked this turn. The Farseer guided the Dark Reapers and doomed Gabriel Seth, and the Warlock was able to cast Protect on the Dark Reapers as well, so they now have a 2+ save. So that's pretty handy. Then, yeah, the fire dragons were able to take out the Dreadnought all by themselves, so no more Dreadnought. And then Gabriel Seth went down to the firepower. Obviously, I'd pulled the Avengers out of combat. Firepower, the Warp Spiders, the Farseer, and the Jet Bikes. Doom really made a difference there, as did some slightly bad save rolling, I have to say. Then things started to get a bit silly. The Dark Reapers put 9 wounds on the Storm Raven, thanks to Guide. The Wave Serpent, despite needing 6s to hit, managed to put a wound on the Storm Raven. And then the Wraith Guard finished it off. These two guys both got 6s to hit. These 3 had actually targeted the Terminators but did nothing because Storm Shields. But these 2 took down these Storm Ravens, 6s to hit, but yeah, really lucked out a little bit there. So the Storm Raven's gone, the Dreadnought's gone, Seth's gone. Over here, the arriving Dire Avengers shot the Scouts who'd just been pulled out of combat. Because they were just out of range to be in combat, killed 2 of them, and in combat the Scorpions killed 3 of the Tactical Marines. So yeah, really quite a successful turn. I'm really pleased with how my army performed. The synergy's finally happening, and yeah, reducing the number of threats. Although it's not over yet, Terminators and Sanguinor is nothing to be sniffed at, and even his Tactical Marines are a threat to me. So let's see what he can do on Blood Angel stroke Flesh Terror, turn 3. With the Blood Angel force depleted, he had limited options, but was still able to make an impact. So down here, as you can see, the Terminators and the Sanguinor moved up, assaulted the Wraith Guard, wiped them out. So there are no Wraith Guard anymore. Spirit Seer went with them, and he's been able to consolidate in to tie up my Dire Avengers. He took no damage to the Overwatch there either. Other than that, the drop pod killed a single Warp Spider with his Deathwind missile launcher, and over here the Scouts and Tactical Squad moved up to threaten the Dire Avengers. He killed off the last of the striking Scorpions with the Flamers from the Tactical Squad, and the other guys killed 2 of the Avengers. So yeah, still looking pretty good, but I've got a few threats to deal with. Those Terminators are going to be a problem for me, as are the Tactical Squads, but I think we can pull this. As for the objectives, obviously this one is being heavily contested. It's a bit of a firefight going on for this one. This one's wide open, and the one over there behind the drop pod should be an easy take for the Spiders, although getting the drop pod out of the way would help a lot. Here we go, Eldar turn 3. So this turn I wanted to pull back away from the Terminators, use my speed and range to get to the other objectives, and yeah, see what I could do. So I moved the Fire Dragons down to here behind the Sanguinor, and pulled back my Warlock, Wave Serpent, Jet Bikes, Farseer, and Warp Spiders. Actually advanced the Warp Spiders up towards the Tactical Squad there, and brought the Dire Avengers forward, and over this side the Warp Spiders continued hanging out in the trees by the drop pod. Psychic phase, my Warlock jinxed the Terminators, and my Farseer managed to doom the Tactical Squad that was over there, and as you can see, that dooming was quite effective because the combined firepower of the Warp Spiders and the Dire Avengers were able to finish them off. These 2 jet bikes then killed the lone flamer guy there before the one of these jet bikes killed a couple of the scouts, and the Dire Avengers assaulted the survivors for a complete wipeout on that quarter of the board, which pretty much leaves me free to claim that 4-point objective there. So that was big. Down here things were a little bit tougher. The Fire Dragons managed to take 4 wounds off the Sanguinor. His Invuln save saved him from anything worse. And pulling these guys out of combat meant they couldn't shoot, but the jet bikes lit them up, and thanks to Jinx and some decent hit rolling, managed to kill 1 Terminator. Dark Reapers thought they'd have a pop over at the drop pod, get that off that objective, but the ones that actually managed to hit failed to wound, so a little bit disappointing there. But the Warp Spiders did put another wound onto it, so we're gradually wearing that down. I outnumber it on that side of the board anyway. So yeah, not too bad. That side is swept clean. Down here, Sanguinor's on his last wound. Terminators are slow, they can only kill a certain amount, and yeah, not bad at all. On to Blood Angel, turn 4. Blood Angel, turn 4. And the Terminators and the Sanguinor ganged up and killed all the Aspect Warriors in here, so the Fire Dragons are gone, the Dark Reapers are gone, and that small Avenger squad's gone. Other than that, not really a lot happened. The drop pod shot the Warp Spiders but didn't do anything. And yeah, he's facing up against all this Eldar. Now, at this point, Tom has decided to concede, which is fair enough. Discretion is the better part of valour, because basically, this objective's worth 2, this objective's worth 4 to him, that one's worth 4 to me, and that one's worth 2 to me. So it's unlikely at the current rate that he's going to get that one off me. And if he moves his Terminators to get this one off me, then he's pulling them off that, and either way he won't score, and there's no way he can get over there. If Sanguinor makes a run for it, either the Warlock or the Farseer can smite him. He's only on a single wound, so yeah, we have decided that, you know, not much he can do here, but it was a good fun game, so thanks for a good game, mate. And yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute for the post game. And there we have it. After a hard-fought battle, the Eldar are eventually triumphant. First couple of turns, or sort of first turn and a half really, up to my second shooting phase, I felt like they were all over me. You know, there's Death Company pulling off a turn 1 multi-charge into most of my tanks, and really pinning me back there. I thought this is not going to end well. But then turn 2 shooting phase comes around, and yeah, we pull it out. Some amazing rolls there. The Dark Reapers did brilliant, the Wraith Guard were right spot on, and the Psychers finally started to get their powers off on the right targets, and made a big difference. So yeah, and in the end, what little force he had left was too slow and just couldn't keep up with me. And yeah, I mean, it was him calling it when he did, I think was fair. I don't think there was a way he could have come back that, because he just didn't have the resources left to grab the objectives. So yeah, nice victory for the Eldar. Well played, Tom. Like I say, the early couple of turns I thought you were kind of all over me and there wasn't much I could do, and yeah, thanks for a good game. Taking a drop pod was an unusual choice, but it kind of worked out for you there, didn't it? Because that drop pod was holding that objective and I had to focus resources onto dealing with it, so you know, it made sense even dropping it down empty. Although I think if I had been Tom, I'd have probably stuck one of the tactical squads in there, maybe. Probably wouldn't have run flamers on them either in a drop pod, but that's another matter. You know, drop pods are a funny thing in this edition. I think the stars of the army, from his point of view there, were the Death Company. I mean, they may not have lived past my first shooting phase, but they were so scary. I had to focus everything on them, and yeah, they were brutal, like cutting up my tanks, and just, oh yeah, if I see them again I'll be deploying well back, because that stratagem to get them up in my face, really effective. As for my army, I was generally pleased with how they played, but a bit disappointed with the striking scorpions. I feel like that's happened to me a few too many times now. They've popped up 9 inches from the target. I've used Court of the Young King to get a +2 on my charge, and even spending another command point to re-roll it, I failed to get in. And just like, well, what's the point of you then? You know, you're supposed to appear from nowhere and be right in amongst the enemy, and you're just not doing it. And even when they do get there, they kind of, the Exarch does some work, but the rest of the squad woof. So yeah, I'm considering dropping them out, doing up some other stuff. But with all the price drops in the Eldar codex, I haven't got much more to put in. I mean, I've only got a unit of swooping hawks, and that wouldn't cost in for the scorpions, so I'd have to switch it up there. Certainly one thing I'd be looking to add is more Dark Reapers. They were brilliant tonight. I think that's the general consensus in the book, that they are one of the best units, and you know, they fit my playstyle. You know, minimum size aspect warrior squad seems to be the thing with Biel Tan, and yeah, that's certainly going to work out for the Dark Reapers. Probably want to get some more Avengers as well. They were nice, just for kind of being there and hitting the targets that had already been jinxed and doomed. You know, on their own they're not amazing, although the reroll's helpful, but if the target's got something like jinx or doom on it, they start to get a lot better very quickly. But yeah, anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.